Okay, I'll call the meeting to order. Couple announcements here to get us started. Commissioner Matt Lyseth will be participating in this meeting via interactive technology from the address of, and Matt, can you state the address that you're at?
Matt, you're on mute. Matt, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Okay, we can hear you now.
State your address you're at, Matt.
Yep, 43 South River Shore Drive, Moorhead.
Thank you. Which location is open and accessible to the public during the meeting? Reminder to commissioners attending via interactive technology, please make sure that your camera and microphone are turned on so we can see and hear you during the meeting. The Moorhead Public Service Commission welcomes and encourages customer input on issues listed on the agenda or of general water electric utility interest, time and commission permitting. Speakers are limited to 3-minute presentations. Customers wishing to address the commission regarding a specific agenda item will be afforded an opportunity during the discussion of that item. Customers wishing to speak on matters not listed on the agenda will be given the opportunity to do so under the heading Customers to be Heard Recognitions. Each person requesting the opportunity to speak is asked to fill out a request to speak form located on the table in the back of the room and present it to the administrative assistant in attendance at the meeting. Any follow-up or feedback will be done by email on anything that cannot be resolved this evening. All right, we'll move to agenda item number 2, approval of the agenda. I'll look for a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Borgen, second by Baker. Roll call vote. Borgen?
Yes.
Baker?
Aye.
Lyseth?
Aye.
And Paulson? Aye. We'll move to agenda item number 3, approve the consent agenda. I'll look for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Baker, second by Borgen. Roll call vote. Borgen?
Yes.
Baker?
Aye.
Lyseth?
Aye.
Paulson? Aye. We'll move to number 6, customers to be heard. Travis, I don't think we have anyone today.
Don't see any customers in the audience tonight.
Okay. Moving on to number 7, old business.
Chair Paulson, I do have a recognition though.
Oh, go ahead.
One of our employees had their 10-year milestone anniversary with us. Shane Weary, he's on our water distribution crew, so helps work on all the water main breaks and water main replacements and other duties as assigned. His anniversary is on June 10th, so we just want to give him a round of applause for 10 years with MPS.
Excellent. Thank you for that, and congratulations to Shane. All right, number 7, old business. Any commissioners have any old business? All right, we'll move on to city council report.
I don't have a lot to report. We did have a very interesting meeting today. We had our council workshop and we had a presentation about wastewater. It was interesting, and the thing that was really kind of concerning to me was that they talked about the rates which might increase because of losing the Bush Egg company out of Moorhead, which, as we know, that also may affect us in our water rates. So losing a good business that uses a lot of water and produces a lot of wastewater, losing that is going to affect our taxpayers. So hopefully the city will find another business to go into that spot or some other business to take up some of that loss. That's all I have to report.
All right, thank you. We'll move to Public Service Commission. Anybody have anything to report?
Do you want to talk about the Rose Hansen?
Yeah, I'll mention that. Thanks, Travis. So just for the commission's awareness, it does sound like Ms. Hansen's issue was resolved with the contractor. As we had kind of mentioned to her a couple meetings ago. And so that appears to be an issue that's been taken care of. You know, we'll just have to be cognizant as we continue through the AMI project, and you know, hopefully we don't see many of those, but I think we handled that one appropriately and put the responsibility on the contractor where it belongs. So,
And just to add a note there, we are also working with the contractor to adjust some of the communications that goes out to the customers as well. So we're going to put some information in our letters, and then they'll also either provide it in one of their letters that gets sent out, and then at the time of the meter change out, they'll also get that information as well too. So just some precautionary measures.
sounds great. And Councilperson Borgen, maybe you can mention that to the city council. I know there was a lot of city council members that were
We'll do that.
interested in that issue, so.
Sure, I'll do
Thank
that.
you, thank you. All right, any other Public Service Commission reports? Okay, we'll move on to the General Manager's report.
Yeah, just a couple items in here. Of course, the state legislature wrapped up last week in a short additional session or added extended session, so that was completed. We also had some staff, on June 6th, it was a Public Power Day of Giving, which ties into the APPA National Conference Week that was upcoming, and we had some staff that went out and did some cleanup in Viking Ship Park in Moorhead here as part of that. So I want to give a shout out to those guys as well for doing a little work around town. Other than that, we've got two other items. I'm going to have Mark Moylan come up. We had our GASB 75 Government Accounting Standards Board actuarial report. So Mark, I'll let you speak to that since it's accounting.
Thank you, Travis. Mark Moylan, in Finance Division Manager. Good afternoon, everybody. As Travis alluded to, this is an annual reporting requirement that we're supposed to incorporate into our annual financial reports. MPS contracts with an external outside service provider who does an actuarial study to try and estimate and determine the present value of other post-employment benefits that get rolled in and reported on MPS's financial statements. This was a new requirement back in, I believe, 2015 or so about, and then at that time it was every 3 years. In 2018 it was rolled into and changed and modified, so you had to do it every 2 years. Back in October, the commission approved contracting with USI, or Hildy, who, as they were formerly known, to complete this actuarial evaluation and study. They provided a report to be used for reporting years 2025 and 2026. And so we do have that information now available, and this is an annual update that's done just about every June to state that that has been completed. So it's a routine item, but it will affect our 2025 financials. At that, I'll take any questions if anybody has any.
Any questions for Mark? Thank you, Mark.
Yes, you're welcome, and thank you.
And then the last item here, I'll have Mark Pritchard come up. Again, another annual item that we have to do. We have to provide and distribute our Consumer Confidence Report, or the CCR as we call it, or Drinking Water Report. And I'll let Mark kind of explain that and what we do and how we do it. Go ahead, Mark.
Thank you, Travis. Mark Pritchard, Water Plant Manager. Each year, Moorhead Public Service works with the Minnesota Department of Health, our primacy agency for the state of Minnesota, to make what's called a Consumer Confidence Report. Basically, it is a condensed version of the 100+ different types of contaminants that water utilities look for at any given time throughout the year in their scheduled regulatory sampling regimen that they have with the state. So later on inside the general manager's report as some attachments, we do have the full report for the commission's review. I'm very happy to report that we had 100% regulatory compliance in 2024, and we're making efforts to make sure that as rules continually change, that we continue to do so. One of the items that is new for this year's, well, actually last year's CCR for calendar year 2024 is we did have, towards the tail end of the report, the unregulated contaminants that are under a lot of scrutiny at the EPA and the federal level right now. So we have things like lithium, things like PFAS. That was a big topic at a recent conference that I attended with Commissioner Paulson in Denver at the ACE conference for 2025. PFAS was a good 30% of the total presentations. How to measure it, how to sample for it, how to mitigate it, and then what to do with those mitigated resources. So it's a topic that we will undoubtedly talk about more, and we do have a lot of information showing that we have very low, if any, levels right now in Moorhead's tap water. So that's excellent news for us and our customers.
Thanks, Mark. And yeah, I forgot to mention that during commission reports. So Mark and I were at the annual conference last week, and maybe just a couple takeaways that I got from that. You know, that basically the state of the regulatory at the federal level seems to be quite in flux. There was a lot of disgruntled public works folks in regards to the PFAS maximum containment levels and how low those were, and how much money would be needed to put into water treatment to remove those contaminants. And I did talk with Mark, and that didn't seem to be an issue for the Moorhead water treatment plant at the moment. But I know there's quite a few other ones around the country that are really struggling to find the funding to address those limits. So overall, I thought it was a great conference. Really got you in tune with the current state of water and the regulatory environment. And I went to a lot of sessions on funding as well, which also seems to be quite up in flux right now. So
Yes. To add to your points, Commissioner Paulson, you know, like I had just mentioned, PFAS was probably a solid 30% of the total presentations given at this conference. I would say another solid percentage was lead service line replacement and the funding or lack thereof after 2027 and what that landscape looks like. So between that and AI, that was a big bulk of that conference. There's a lot of new things out there in the industry, and we want to make sure that as this information comes out, that we're staying on top of it and seeing how we can leverage it for our use and for our customers' use too.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
So PFAS, what does that stand for, and how do we get it in our drinking water, and what can we do to not get it in our drinking water?
Good questions. So PFAS is a generic term for polyfluorinated chemicals, rather. There's about 15 to 20,000 of them in existence that we know of right now. So far, the EPA has regulated or attempted to regulate about 6 to 10. So right now, PFOS, PFOS, and PFOA are the two that started the debate. Places like 3M used it, used Class 5 injection wells to basically pump waste from industrial facilities into the ground that then seeped into area groundwater supplies. Very high-profile one in southern Minnesota that they paid a lot of money to help mitigate. That extrapolated to a nationwide debate, and 3M, DuPont, Tyros, and a handful of other very large industrial manufacturing facilities have put together class action settlement suits. Now, the problem with that is if you sign up to receive those funds, you basically sign away your right and ability to litigate in the future for any reason. That's one of the caveats that Attorney Bolger and I talked at great length to make sure that we did not sign that strictly because of that waiver that we would be signing on for. That was a huge part of a panel where we had some legal experts from DC talking about the settlements, and you know, I was that guy in the room talking about, you know, what do utilities do that signed for this and got money to fix PFAS today? What about the other 15,000 that could become an issue tomorrow? They don't have any recourse now, and MPS is in a good position right now because we still have that ability because we did not sign any of those settlements to receive funds. Now, to get that into the water, you would have to basically have some kind of manufacturing facility upstream that would introduce it to your water supplies. Utilities don't generate PFAS. We are a passive participant in this whole debate, and the important thing at the conference was to make sure that utilities don't get stuck holding the bill for remediation. You know, it's not our fault it's there. We shouldn't expect ratepayers across the country to pay to get it out. That should be the responsibility of the industrial facilities that do generate those types of compounds. They are the ones that should be paying that price. So that's a big topic at a federal and national level right now. And again, MPS is very fortunate to make sure that we don't have very much PFAS to worry about. We've had a couple detects, but they are all within what the new, more strict guidelines call basically a non-issue at this time. So we're in a very enviable position.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Oh, and I just wanted to add one thing. While you two were at the ACE conference in Denver, I was at the APPA National Conference in New Orleans, which again is a great conference as well too to attend if you're ever able to. A lot of talk around nuclear, a lot of talk around large load growth and how that's looking to impact, and just had a plethora of different general session and small session. All talked a lot about economics of the state of the union and economics of where things are going and where they could go. Just a lot of really good topics at that one as well too. So
Great. Thanks, Travis. Okay, I'm assuming I need a motion for C, D, and E.
give me 1 second. John? I would just say accept the general manager's report. And
Okay.
then we'll do D and E next.
Oh, got it. Okay. All right. Is there a motion to accept the general manager's report?
So moved.
Second.
All right. Motion by Borgen, second by Baker. Roll call vote. Borgen?
Yes.
Baker?
Aye.
Lyseth?
Aye.
Paulson? Aye. All right. So 8D?
Yep.
Okay. Is
All
there-
right, I'll go ahead and start this off, and then I'll have Taylor Holt, our project engineer, come up. Another annual item. Used to have this a lot earlier in the year, but we've started working with APPA and their e-reliability tracker, so we have to wait for their report to get sent to us. So we look at a SAIDI, a bunch of reliability indices. Let's just state that. It's a lot easier. And the commission actually has thresholds or standards that they want us to meet or have goals on an annual basis. And in 2024, we met all those goals, and I think we did really well, actually, so probably just jinxed ourselves. But I'll let Taylor kind of explain the rest of it. Go ahead, Taylor.
Taylor Holt, project engineer. We can't really jinx ourselves for this year if we're just talking about last year, but things could turn worse here rapidly. This is an annual report that began in 2004 when the Minnesota State Legislature mandated that municipal electric utilities track and prepare reports for their local governing board. As a result, our commission set numerical goals for 3 reliability indices. They are Customer Average Interruption Duration Index, which we oftentimes call the acronym CAIDI. There's the System Average Interruption Frequency Index, so we use the acronym SAFE, and the System Average Interruption Duration Index, which we call SAIDI. Along with that, we also like to use an additional statistic called Average Service Availability Index. That's essentially comparing the total number of customers multiplied by the minutes in a year, and then comparing that to the total customers times their minutes out per year. And the goal for that every year is to shoot for between 4 and 5 nines, which is 99.99%, and set a ceiling of 99.999%. The reason we put a ceiling on that is, although everybody would agree that having 100% reliability would be great, there's also diminishing returns on how much maintenance performed, how much capital investment there is to achieve that. And it's virtually impossible in the environment that we live in. Along with that, the CAIDI statistic is described as the average duration of each outage for a given year. And it's based on the total customers that experience an outage per year. The goal each year is to have that below 60 minutes. The SAIDI is the average minutes each customer is out throughout the year, and it's based on the total number of customers. So CAIDI and SAIDI are fairly similar, but in the mathematical equations, the divided by part of the equation is slightly different. The SAFE is how many times per year a customer experiences an outage, and we shoot a goal for having that to be less than 1. So if we were to lose the entire town for whatever reason, the baseline for that year would be at 1 statistically, and everything would just be added on top of that. Like Travis said earlier, 2004 was an extremely good year. It was a result of hard work, good strategy, efficient maintenance, and also some good fortunes. The credit needs to go to our operations employees. They're made up of our electricians, linemen, and operations leadership, as well as our dispatchers, helping to direct crews to get power back on when it does go out. The most significant event occurred on July 1st last year when we had a piece of equipment burn up. That piece of protective equipment failed to operate, causing a feeder to operate. This led to a larger outage than should have occurred, and we've since removed that piece of equipment from the system and no longer utilize those devices. This caused 1,558 customers to lose power for about 14 minutes, and another 110 customers lost power for 85 minutes while that got repaired. This made up a good portion of the customer minutes without power last year. Out of those three indices described earlier, we met the goals for all of them. I haven't seen numbers quite this good since my time here. We only had 48 outages last year, and when I started in early 2016, we averaged around 110 outages during that time. I think we've made some strategic changes over the last several years that have really helped target the causes of outages. Overhead problems continue to be the cause of the most number of outages, yet small. There's still nuisance outages, but we still can't ignore the potential underground outages that are oftentimes caused by rodents getting into equipment and then just aging and failing infrastructure. But overall, 2024 was an extremely good, reliable year. Our reliability was well above average. The weather cooperated. There were a below average number of wildlife outages, and then the electric system was also able to avoid any major outages for the year. MPS staff will continue to work diligently to build out and maintain the electric system in a manner that is reliable, robust, and financially responsible. At this point, are there any questions from the commissioners? Yes, sir.
I have a question. So good job on 2024, but you alluded to it a little bit. How have we trended historically, and then how do we compare to other utilities? Like, these are pretty impressive numbers, I believe, from the number of customers and the stats. But can you comment more on that?
Yeah, I can. We do get this APPA benchmarking report that compares us to other utilities. They both try to split it up based off of size, region, and other different criteria. We compare extraordinarily well. I don't think it's a fair apples to apples comparison, even though they try to do their best. But as a municipal utility, we are confined to a fairly small area. So if we start comparing ourselves to investor-owned utilities that have larger, expansive transmission systems, they get hit by more storms because in order for us to get hit, we're either all getting hit by a storm or we're not, or it's missing us. They can get little scattered weather events. And then cooperatives also have long lines that only feed a couple customers. Though they might only lose a couple customers, oftentimes their outages are much longer because they can only have so many outposts. Where in Moorhead, the longest outages are oftentimes the cause of our guys not being on site or available, so they got to come into town and then go fix the outage. But any outages that occur during the day, which is oftentimes when the squirrels do it, we can respond really, really quickly. And then along with that, we've also implemented some kind of smarter strategies to remotely operate switches and get customers back online quicker. I don't know if I answered your question completely, but we look really good compared to the, I'll call it competition.
Great job. Thank you.
I'd just like to say congratulations to you and all of the workers at Moorhead Public Service. I mean, they're the ones who really should be congratulated for this, and Travis, your leadership too, so great job.
Yeah, they do a fantastic job. When you can have a 9 to 14-minute outage, we're doing pretty good. So, I'm pretty sure Commissioner Ness would appreciate that as much as well too when he has his power coming from an IOU across the river.
For sure, for sure. All right, thank you so much. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, we'll look for a motion to accept the 24 Annual Reliability Performance Report.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Baker, second by Borgen. Roll call vote. Borgen?
Yes.
Baker?
Aye.
Lyseth?
Aye.
Paulson? Aye. Move to item 8E, accept the 2024 Annual Management Report for MPS.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and take this, and we actually did a little, haven't done this in the past, so a little new, but we're just going to hit a couple high notes on with the PowerPoint here tonight. Just kind of looking at what 2024 looked like and how it compares to others. Again, a majority of these, if not all of the PowerPoint slides are graphs, as I would call it, are in the actual annual management report, which you've received tonight as well too. And they're bringing it up right now. The PowerPoint presentation.
There it is.
Well, hopefully everybody can see what's on the screens here. Again, from the administrative division, again, this is the finance admin portion of MPS. Again, as you can see, our electric sales were kind of teetering in that normal, right around that 40 million for electric sales for last year. Operations costs were about 27 million roughly, and we'll go into a better slide for this, and then it also shows the transfer as well too. Again, in 2024, we had a 2.5% rate increase, and at that time, we were estimating a 2% for 2025, which was actually approved late in 2024. Again, on the water side of things, we were looking at a 4% rate increase for 2024, which occurred, and then planned for 4% as well in 2025, 26, 7, and 8. But again, with Anheuser-Busch closing down their operations, we ended up having to adjust in November to get it, and levelize those increases over the next 3 to 4 years. So we're looking at 5.5% over the next few years. Again, this is kind of looking at the commission's reserve or days of cash on hand policy, and those really came into effect in the 2012 timeframe, 2011 timeframe, and those were adjusted slightly in 2018 as well too. You can see where the cash or the days of cash on hand were at the end of 2024. And some of that is increased reserves to handle the AMI project, which we're paying cash for, we're not bonding for. So over time here, you'll see some of those funds go down. It also went up as well in 2024 because we did bond for the south or the DOE substation project as well too. And so those will also show a reduction, correct, Mark, in the next couple of years. Again, that was the electric side. This is the water side. Again, roughly that operating reserves, days of cash on hand, came into effect in 2012, was adjusted again in 2018, and again, they had an influx of cash in the last few years for the AMI project as a loan from the electric utility, and those will be coming down as we continue to move forward with that project as well. Correct, Mark? Okay. This just kind of looks at the overall new hires, retirements, resignations, terminations over the last few years. As you can see, we've, minus 2023, we've had more retirements or resignations than new employees. So we're doing pretty good from a number standpoint as well too. Again, this looks more at the business side of it, the billing and collections. As you can see here, it's kind of really split between the cash checks and the assistance agencies as our greatest payment portion of this, our MPS or mympsbill.com, where we have debit and credit cards, is 32%. ACH is about 26%, and then online bill pay through your bank's online bill pay app is about 8% of the overall how we receive funds from our customers. Again, this is going into the electric division. Again, overall revenue comes in at about $45 million in 2024. Mostly, again, our large load customers and our residentials, where a majority of that breakout is. Again, looking at the expenses side of everything, that's about 41 million. Again, between transmission and purchase power, that's about 48% of it, and then you can see everything else divides up under the rest of that, including the transfer to the city of Moorhead as well too. Again, electric division just looks at our kilowatt hour sales. As you can see, since 2018, we've kind of fluctuated downwards over the last 7-8 years, and then it kind of shows that by class as well too. Again, general service is our largest kilowatt hour sales. Again, those plants or facilities typically run 24/7, so they're going to have a higher kilowatt hour rates than our residential. But again, residential is second on the list, and then we get into more of our small customers, our restaurants and smaller businesses and stuff like that as well too. And then miscellaneous really covers street lights and other things like that. Again, street lighting, we took kind of looked at it over the last 5 or 6 years regarding that and where we're at. So as you can see, we've increased our overall lights in town, but since about 2015 or so, we've really made an effort to convert most of those to LED, and this just shows the last 6 years and current projections as well too in 2025 of where we're going to be. So we're getting pretty close. We still got some work to do on the street light conversions. Again, Taylor really talked about this a little bit earlier, just kind of put it in a graph form for the reliability indices. Shows that SAIDI, SAIFI, and CAIDI, and then the ASAI percentages there as well too. So overall, again, minus 2021, when we had the lightning strike at the DOE substation, we've really continually met those goals as well too. Again, this just kind of looks at our power supply mix and our demand peaks on an annual basis. It's always really fluctuated. The last few years we've seen more summer peaks, but in 2024 we actually had a higher winter peak than a summer peak. And then it just shows, the other graph on there also just shows our energy supply mix, our WAPA power, our MRES power, and then the wind and I would say solar's in there as well too, that we have in town as well too. It's right at the top and it's very small, so it's hard to see. Again, in 2024, this was our overall energy resource mix. Again, this is provided by Missouri River Energy Services and just covers the entire portfolio that we have. Again, 56% of our power comes from hydro, 3% from wind, less than 1% from solar, about 4% from nuclear, 13% from coal, 5% from natural gas, 0.1% or less from diesel, and then about 18% is market purchases as well too. So again, in 2024 and now in 2025, this kind of looks at our overall how green our community is, and with the approval of the Bright Energy Choices in 2023 for 24, and then again for 25 and 24, we hit that 100% net zero carbon or total carbon free initiative. So that's really what everything looks like there. So we're going to move on to the water division quickly. Again, revenues on the water division side for 2024 were about 13.5 million. Again, a majority of that comes from the residential inside the city. We do serve some customers outside the city as well too, which is a very small, minute percentage. It doesn't even show up on there. Some from industrial, commercial, and then everything else. So that's where the revenues come from the water division. Again, expenses on the water division side are about $12.4 million. Again, the majority of that is water treatment and administrative and general as well too. So then we got some depreciation are the large ones there, so. Again, sales and revenue over the last few years, as you can see, our sales have typically gone up, but we've also had a lot larger percentage increases on our rates. Operating expenses, less depreciation and city transfers, those have also gone up as well too, but again, when you're doing 4 to 5% rate increases annually, it looks differently, so. Again, on the water division, just kind of looking at the last 5 years of sales based on customer class, really kind of fluctuating there between the years. Overall, we're kind of around that 1.4 million gallons. Is that right, Mark? Or no? 1.4 billion gallons. There, that's the right word. Again, total operating revenue and expenses, just looking at this at a little different view. As you can see, our expenses have always been lower than our revenues on an annual basis over the last 5 years. And this is the fun one. This is where we talk about our cast iron water main replacement, as we've been looking at it for decades now. The blue bar chart is how many miles we replaced each year. Kind of fluctuates above and below our normal target of 1.25 miles annually, but overall we've met that goal. Especially last year, we were at a little over 2 miles of water main that was replaced. And then you can see with that red bar that's on the top, roughly we've been, over the last 5 years, we've replaced about 7.5 miles of line, so that's pretty good. About 20 to go, right, Jake? Again, this just looks at our historical water main breaks. Again, on like the water side, or like the electric side on the reliability, 2024 was a really mild year from a temperature standpoint, so we didn't see as many breaks, which is a good thing. But yeah, as you can see, since 1960, we've tracked all those breaks up to years where we had about 190 breaks occurring. So that's probably when the onslaught of getting rid of cast iron water main started.
Happened in 1988. It seems like a huge spike, but
Yeah, I don't know if it was a really cold year or what was going on, but yeah, it was about 4 or 5 years there where it was really, really high. So I don't know if it was maybe some large main or something like that, but yeah, very interesting. What? Drought of 88. There you go.
that was a drought. Yeah.
And then just to final up on everything, communications, community and employee engagement. These are a list of all the events that occurred in Moorhead or around Moorhead that we were involved with as well too, and we've got some photographs from being at those events as well too. So just a nice little catch up of what was going on in 2024, and that concludes my presentation. So if there's any questions, we're here to address them.
Go ahead.
I have a question. So some of these projects, you know, cast iron main lines and lead service lines I've heard a lot about. I've seen the street light graph now a few times in my time here. What is the barrier to get all the street lights to LEDs? Is that just a cycle that you do that on, or why are we not at 100%? It seems like that's a lot easier than, you know, water mains and some of these bigger projects that are going to take time.
Correct. There's a couple, we've always taken the approach that, you know, when we have a light go out, we're going to change it out with an LED. So we've kind of just done it through attrition for the most part. We've done a couple of projects. The city of Moorhead got some grant funding in the last couple of years where we were able to do a few more projects than we would normally do on an annual basis, or replacements on an annual basis. And that's really helped move everything forward as well too. But a lot of it's cost. The other part of it is too, is that you're seeing if you drive around town and you see a purple light, it means it's starting to fail already, and some of those can occur between that 5 and 10 year range. And so you don't want to do them all at once, because then you're just going to have a bubble of replacements again. And so we've kind of just done it through attrition for the most part. So
it's kind of random where the lights are
Yep.
going out, and
Yep.
you know, there's not like a geographical component to it.
Nope.
You just do it as it comes. Okay.
yeah, typically from October till about May, our crews go out and they, kind of do a grid search and mark down the lights that are out, or mark the lights that are either out, flickering, or the color's not right, and then they'll mark them, and then when the crews are back in the next day or over the next week, we'll get those changed out. And we definitely try to hit it hard right before Halloween so that there's light on the streets for trick-or-treating.
Very good. Thanks.
All right. I'll look for a motion to accept the 2024 annual management report.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion by Baker, second by Borgen. Roll call vote. Borgen?
Yes.
Baker?
Aye.
Lyseth?
Aye.
And Paulson? Aye. Okay, we'll move to item number 10, the award bid for construction of MPS Redundant Network Operations Center.
Sure. Again, planning this for a while, and started really digging into it last roughly November. Hired a contractor to do the work, and I'm going to let Adam Benthart, our construction manager, speak about the bid and any other questions you have. Go ahead, Adam.
Good evening, Adam Benhart, Construction Manager. This item is to award the bid for construction of MPS's Redundant Network Operations Center, which would be built at the Oakport Water Tower site in North Moorhead. Construction would consist of a precast modular 30 by 30 building set on elevated piers, grading of the site, security fencing, and concrete. The bid opening was on April 30th, and we received 6 qualified bids. In the attached bid tabulation, you'll see the lowest qualified bid was from Border Construction out of Fargo, North Dakota, in the amount of $448,000 for the base bid and $15,000 for alternate number 1. Alternate number 1 consists of installing security fencing around our Oakport Water Tower. Border Construction's bid is approximately 49% lower than the engineer's estimate of $900,000. For full transparency on this project, a few items were overlooked during our engineering phase, and that will have to be addressed in the coming change orders, should the commission choose to award this contract tonight. We will also have to do an amendment to our task order 2025-1 with Sandman Structural Engineers to add more funds for their continued engineering services related to this project. At this time, Sandman recommends awarding the contract to Border Construction for the base bid plus alternate number 1 for the total price of $463,000. Any questions?
Questions? No, I think this is a rare occurrence where we accept the bid that's below the engineer's estimates. So.
Yeah, well, Adam's got to be lucky right now because he's had 2 of them where he's had them underneath the engineer's estimate, so.
Yeah, I don't know what you're doing, Adam, but keep it up. So.
I don't know what else you want to do.
Adam and I have been talking about this, and, Adam alluded to a couple changes that we need to make during the, what do you want to call it, as-builds or shop drawings.
They would get it changed, and then as we get to the shop drawings, it would all get priced out and then come back with the change orders.
Don't expect that to make it over the 900,000. It's probably 50 to 100,000, somewhere in there.
Okay, sure. Okay, I'll look for a motion to approve the bid.
Second.
All right, motion from Baker, second from Borgen. Roll call vote. Borgen?
Yes.
Baker?
Aye.
Lyseth?
Aye.
And Paulson? All right. All right, we'll move to item number 11, approval of professional services for land acquisition activities.
That one's
sorry,
actually on
that's
consent.
Yeah, that was a consent agenda. Item number 12, award bid for the 2025 lead service line replacement project.
Yep, Jake Long, our water distribution manager, is going to come up and speak to this. Again, we did a pilot last year, or about 10 homes roughly, and we were on the state dwarf loan or drinking water revolving fund application process. So again, this is 100% covered by the state of Minnesota through a reimbursement. We have to expend the money first, of course, but we will be reimbursed, and I'll let Jake talk about the plan.
Yep, thank you, Travis. As Travis mentioned, this item in front of you tonight is to a recommendation to award the bid for the 2025 lead service line replacement project to Randall's Excavating. in the amount of $371,475, and also to authorize the general manager to execute the water service replacement agreement with the property owners. These agreements and the cost for the project are contingent upon final approval by the Minnesota Public Facilities Authority. This project consists of replacing 30 private lead lines. These 30 lead lines were identified through 2024's water main replacement projects. And during the water main replacement project, the public portion was replaced, and this project will eliminate the partial replacement and replace the private side from the curb stop all the way into the home. As Travis also mentioned, we began a project last year, our pilot project. We got about 6 of those replaced last year, and the contractor, which is also Randall's, is completing those ones by June. Here is our completion date on June 2025. So MPS has prepared applications through the Minnesota Public Facilities Authority over the last several years, and now replacements have become available through the bipartisan infrastructure law and state of Minnesota matching funds. We're currently in the process of working through the agreement with the Minnesota Public Facilities Authority, and due to all the services being entirely private, it's 100% reimbursable, and these are project costs including the construction, administrative, engineering, and all those costs. Bids were opened on June 9th for the project, and we received 2 qualified bids. MPS staff and Apex Engineering Group reviewed the bids and recommend that we award the bid to the lowest qualified bidder, which is Randall's Excavating. We also have the attached bid tab in the packet. As I mentioned, Randall's is working on our 2024 project, and we've worked with them quite often, and they do a nice job and can complete this project as specified. So with that, I will open up to any questions.
Any questions?
Jake, how many lead service lines do we know of currently? I know we're still working through the AMI project to find or solidify the rest of them, but how many do we have now?
Yeah, I haven't looked in a while. It's fluctuated a little bit with just as we keep on inventorying, but I believe we're around that 250. But we have probably 40% of our known area yet to inventory. I could see us pushing maybe 300, 350, but.
All right, great. No additional questions. I'll look for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All right, motion from Borgen, second from Baker. Roll call vote. Borgen,
Yes.
Baker,
Aye.
Lyseth,
Aye.
and Paulson. Aye. Move to item number 13, the approval of a sponsorship request from the Moorhead American Legion for Veterans Honor Flight of North Dakota, Minnesota Summer Blast fundraiser.
You got to take this one. So again, we did this sponsorship last year when they had the traveling wall, and it was a really good event, and they've asked us for a sponsorship again. Because it meets all the requirements. It's anybody from the public can be there. I think you still have to buy a ticket, but again, it's for a good opportunity, a good fundraiser to raise money for the honor flight, and recommending $2,500, which is what we did last year as well too.
I've actually been on the honor flight 3 times as a volunteer. I just can't think of a better place to give our money. I mean, what they do for the veterans of our community is unparalleled. So I will make the motion that we give this to the honor flight.
It actually won't go to the honor flight. It goes to the American Legion
Yes,
for
American
the
Legion. Thank you.
for the fundraiser.
Right.
That's my motion.
Very good. Very good. Well, without the veterans, we may not be here with a water system, right? So, all right, I'll look for a second.
Second.
All right. Motion from Borgen, second from Baker. Roll call vote. Borgen,
Yes.
Baker,
Aye.
Lyseth,
Aye.
Paulson. Aye. Don't believe we have closed sessions, so believe that concludes the meeting. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All right, roll call. Borgen,
Yep.
Baker,
Aye.
Lysa,
Aye.
and Paulson. Aye. Thanks, everyone.